Thank you so very much, Mr. Kapoor, for really setting the tone for the day and also taking our delegates through what all we have in store for them today. Some very, very exciting sessions lined up. Our experts from across the globe joining us right here. And we couldn't be more than happy to have with us our next speaker. Yes, telling us more on Aadhar, empowering digital payments in India. It is such a delight as I present to you Ms. Deepali Sharma, Assistant Director General, UIDAI, joining us for this very, very special address. We thank you, ma'am.
Uh, Good morning. Thank you, Isha, and thank you, Rishi, for setting the tone. I'm from Unique Identification Authority of India, and I'm going to talk about how Aadhaar has been a foundation or bedrock for the digital transformation and digital economy that you have seen so far. What is the recipe for digital economy? Primarily, a very enabling policy, a supportive regulatory environment, and this is not enough. You need certain basic elements like the identification, inclusion in the financial sector through bank accounts, a host of payment methods which are available for individuals to adopt, and finally, digital adoption by users or digital literacy for the users. Considering that we have a huge population of over 1.36 billion people, and there are people who are at the bottom of pyramid who need to be included in this whole system. It is not an easy thing. Primarily, the main problem for India in the beginning, as we saw in the earlier years of this century, were that inclusion in the identity system. Were not included in the identity. 40% of the people did not have a formal identity. And that's where the government of India came up with this program of having a digital ID. It's a robust, unique ID. We started in 2009. The first digital ID was issued in 2010. Today, we are having around a billion and 310 million identities. So 1.31 billion digital identities is what we have. Each of them is uh, digitally active. One can prove his or her identity through uh, digital authentication mechanisms provided by uh, Aadhar or UIDAI. Now, this is not enough. After digital ID, the next thing that is required are mobile subscriptions. Mobile subscriptions, 1.1 billion mobile users who are having 800 of them having internet, is the second factor that paved the way for digital economy in India. 1.4 billion bank accounts that could be created largely because of Jan Dhan account scheme is another factor. And today we are at 43 billion digital payments that happened in 2021 so far. So this is the success, and how we have achieved, how Aadhar has played as a foundation role is something that I'm going to talk about. We started with the challenge of having 40% people, largely at the lower segment, at the bottom of the pyramid, who did not have an identity. That costed them. There was an identification cost for them, because any service, whether it is a welfare service or any product or service that you want to take in the digital platform, you need identification, and that's where they had to pay a lot of poverty premium. Secondly, India is a welfare state. We spend almost $50 billion every year on our welfare schemes. And since was no unique identity for individuals, these welfare schemes, the databases of the welfare schemes, were ridden with multiple ghost beneficiaries. And that caused leakage to the extent of over 20% in these welfare programs. And how India went about this is, when you have such a large scale social problems, there is a need to unbundle the problem and create digital infrastructures. So these digital infrastructures act as public good, on top which innovative solutions can happen, and which can invite both public partners as well as private partners to have innovative solutions built on such digital infrastructures. Aadhaar is one such digital infrastructure which is acting as a public good, and there are a lot of innovative solutions over which have emerged. What are the features of Aadhaar that enabled all this is it's a unique identity. Through biometrics, we ensure that an individual gets only one Aadhaar number. It stays with the individual for throughout lifetime. It is the most inclusive. So the 40% of the population which could not get into the formal identification system was added using innovative methods of inclusion through identification certification by local officials, is where we had this inclusive program to have almost 99.76% adult population above 18 years is having Aadhaar. 95% between 5 to 18 years have Aadhaar. So that's how we have an inclusive ID. It's a completely portable ID, available, acceptable throughout India. It's available, physical cards are available in 13 languages. One can prove his or her identity anytime, anywhere. Over 50 to 60 lakh biometric devices are available all over the system. 500 agencies use Aadhaar, and we are doing over 50 to 60 million transactions per day. Another concerns regarding such a huge digital identity program are related to privacy and security. Aadhaar enshrines privacy and security by design. We collect very minimal resident data, name, address, date of birth, gender. Optional are mobile and email. And we have only 10 biometric fingerprints and iris and face to have a biometric deduplication. The program lays stress on user consent, and it's a completely random number. There is no intelligence or profiling, so there's no data pooling that is allowed. All these make in Aadhaar a very safe and secure digital ID program. The primary target of the mandate of UIDAI was to ensure targeted delivery of services and benefits to individuals at a very low cost of delivery. Even Aadhaar program is a very low cost program. Digital platforms can be successful only when they are robust and are frugal. Aadhaar is one such platform. Only a pound per Aadhaar is the cost that has been incurred by the government to create such a massive program. Two services that Aadhaar offers that make it the foundation of a digital economy are authentication. One can prove in a presence-less way that he is who he claims to be, or call it a yes/no Aadhaar service, whereby Aadhaar only says that yes, this is the person who he claims to be. The person has to provide his or her Aadhaar number and either OTP or biometrics, and then we match it and say yes. This service is very essential at the last mile delivery, point of sales delivery. Another service that has transformed is eKYC. eKYC, the know your customer requirement is very stringent, very expensive if you do it on a paper based way. And this is required everywhere, whether you enroll in a government program, in a welfare program, or you want to apply for a bank, or you want to get a SIM itself. Mobile based KYC or digital KYC provided by UIDI, wherein a person provides his or her Aadhaar number and biometrics and gives his consent. So UIDI shares the eKYC data, which includes name, address, date of birth, photograph, to the user entity. Banks can use it, mobile telecom operators or telcos can use it to issue SIM. So eKYC, which UIDAI introduced somewhere around 2012, was an enabling factor for mobile revolution that you are seeing in India, for banking revolution that you are seeing in India. And we have done over 10 billion eKYC so far. So that's the number. We do 40 to 60 million authentication transactions, which includes yes, no, and eKYC, both. Around 64 billion authentication transactions that have been done so far. So with this, at this scale of operation, Aadhaar with its uniqueness, authentication services, and eKYC service, along with another important factor, it acts as a financial address. That is the recipe for inclusion in the financial system. One can make payments to an individual either by the business or government or from individual using Aadhaar as a financial address. So one just needs to give Aadhaar number and the money reaches to the individual at the bank account linked with Aadhaar. With this background, I would like to talk about the enablers, the final enablers that have happened in India. Jam Trinity. Most of you would have heard about Jam Trinity. It stands for Jandhan, Aadhar, and Mobile. We had 1.31 billion IDs. Aadhar could act as financial ID. But yes, what was also missing was bank accounts. The people at the bottom of the pyramid did not all of them have bank accounts, because banking a bank account needed one, identification, which was solved by Aadhar. Second was, there are certain banking requirements like minimum payment, minimum balance to be kept, and other things, which were simplified by another program of government of India, which is the Jandhan scheme, and it enabled opening of bank account only with Aadhar. These are accounts, one household can have one account each, which do not require minimum balance. There are certain overdraft facilities which are given over these bank accounts, and also uh, rupee debit card is associated with these bank accounts. So far, over 440 million bank accounts are there. So Jandhan accounts, along with Aadhar, which acts as a financial address, linking such a Jandhan account and Aadhar enables host of services or facilities that can be done either by business or by government. Third is mobile. Mobile you used to receive OTP, conduct financial transactions. So Jandhan, Aadhar, and mobile enabled, created the whole system. Over on top of this layer are few innovations, few applications that were transformative. One of them is Aadhar Payment Bridge. Aadhar Payment Bridge is a service that is hosted by National Payment Corporation of India. It enables government to citizen, business to consumer transfers. So whenever government or business want to transfer money to an individual's bank account, they just need to give Aadhar number. And Aadhar Payment Bridge is the system that functions at the back end of this whole system. There are over 940 banks which are active. 750 million bank accounts are linked to Aadhar, and Government of India transfers most of its subsidies and benefits directly to the bank accounts of their beneficiaries through APB. So far, 8.45 billion transactions have happened, and more than $75 billion have been paid by Government of India in these APB accounts. That way, using linking Aadhar to the beneficiary accounts, transferring money through direct benefit transfer of various schemes, helped government achieve transparent and accountable government. It also empowered people. Now, once money is transferred to these individuals, they are scattered all over the country. They have bank accounts. Another enabling factor that is needed is to have last banking at the last mile, at the doorstep. They need to do financial transactions, because we know bank branches, the physical brick and mortar bank branches, are very limited in number. They are not available all over. So that's where this gap was filled in by another service or another product operated by NPCI only, which is Aadhar based. It is Aadhar enabled payment system. Aadhar enabled payment system enables business and banks to consumer transactions. So one can use this system to uh, transfer cash, withdraw cash, check balance in the accounts, and this is enabled through last mile foot soldiers who are known as banking correspondents. Over 35 million of them are active. 3.5 million of them are active with micro ATM devices. Various banks have their own micro ATM devices. These foot soldiers go from village to village, cater to individual needs, and AEPS and these foot soldiers were very useful during the pandemic, when we had migrant laborers, when we had people stuck at their houses, and these foot soldiers could help them. Government of India transferred a lot of benefits during pandemic using Aadhar Payment Bridge under DBT program, and AEPS enabled these people to avail those to receive cash from their bank accounts or transfer cash to the people, to the families in other areas of the country. AEPS itself has seen over 11.66 billion successful transactions. Every month, we are doing over 400 million transactions on AEPS platform. So it is a very successful platform. Over 132 banks are live on this. These banks allowed transfers within the bank and across different banks. So interoperability is also there. APBS. Another product which is in a very nascent stage, but it's picking up, is Bhim Aadhar Pay. It is a consumer to business. It is one of the Aadhaar based solutions where merchant version of an APS, where application works on a low cost Android phone. There is a single fingerprint biometric device which is attached to the phone, and an individual can make payments directly to the bank account of the merchant at point of sales. Around 110 issuer and 38 acquirer banks are active on this. Over zero point 0.2 million merchants are active on this, and so far we've done 46.8 million transactions. So these three products, APB, AEPS, Beam Aadhaar Pay, all three of them Aadhaar based, have been very transformative. Way ahead is the India stack, which is I just want to brief about this. After this, what is the next step? A set of APIs within India are becoming the next step for Digital India. The YesNo and eKYC services of Aadhaar, Digital Locker, which enables retrieving, storing, sharing verified digital documents, which is also Aadhaar based, championed by the Government of India, MIghty. The fourth API is eSign. eSign is Aadhaar based, which enables electronically signing any document, and UPI, or the Unified Payment Interface, that you would have heard about so far. It is another digital platform akin to Aadhaar, which enables innovative solutions built by public and private sector. So these five, yes, no, eKYC, digital locker, e-sign, and UPI, enable cashless, paperless, and presence-less transactions. This is the next step for India, and so far we have over 4.2 billion UPI transactions in October itself. That amounts to around 100 billion amount of money transferred or used with UPI. That's all I would like to say about how Aadhaar has been a big enabler in the digital payment system, and I'm open to questions.